Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Amram Rakar back with another lesson, giving all the praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakar HaKadosh. And as always, double honors to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect and to the great multitude destined for salvation. Shalom. So, I just wanted to do this lesson, man, regarding, look, there's been well, let me read this first and then I'll get into it, right? So this is Revelation 13, and I'll start at 9, like we used to. I haven't read this for a while. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. So, if you can get this, man, you're going to get it. If you have the understanding, this is for you, man. Right, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So, reading that, you might think, I'm reading that, but so I want to get to the point now. So, so if you haven't heard of this case that's been, this began in 2023 when a young boy got shot in the back by this motorbike, right? Called what's his name? Chike Rick Chow, right? It says a convenience store owner accused in the 2023 fatal shooting of a black 14-year-old appears in court during closing arguments in his murder trial, right? So it says the jury returned the verdict for Rick Chow, 61, who is Asian, shot Cyrus Carmack Belton in the back after chasing him from his convenience store in Colombia, but maintained he acted to defend his son. The killing sent waves of anguish and grief through the African American so-called community in Richland County, where nearly half the population is black. We're Israelites, man. After the verdict was read, sobs and cries of distress could be heard coming from Carmack Belton's family seated in the gallery. Chow sat silently frozen before bowing his head onto his interlocked hands. Prosecutors and defense lawyer in closing arguments painted different pictures of the 2023 shooting. Prosecutors said Chow had acted in anger because he wrongly thought the teen had stolen 4 bottles of water from the store, and defense lawyer said Chow had fired to defend his son only after the teen had pointed a gun at him. Well, look, I don't want to read anything more, man, because the point of the matter is that, once again, and this is according to the curses, man, and I don't want to feel like I'm sounding cold and stuff, but the truth of the matter is that, that was this Carmack Belton's, Cyrus Carmack Belton, that was his judgment, man, and it's not the best way to go out. But ultimately, we don't decide that. Was it, do I believe it was a wicked thing, in regards to the man that done it? Yeah, I do. I've been following this and I'll briefly go into it. So, whatever, you can see it for yourselves anyway. There's plenty of information online and the videos and whatnot. So he goes into the store, they demand him to take up his bag and put it at the front of the store, which he does without complaint. He goes to the back of the store where the water is, picks out 4 bottles of water, then for whatever reason, and I've done this many times, picked up stuff and put it back. It's a normal thing to do. It's a normal thing to do if you're not an Israelite. If you're an Israelite, it's not a normal thing to do, because you always wonder who's watching you. And the people who are watching you are wondering what you're doing, because we're not afforded to the same luxuries in the world as other people, man. All right, as the other nations. Anyway, so he puts them back, and then as he's trying to leave, the woman, this is Rick Chow's wife, accuses him of stealing. He says, "I don't have any water." He shakes his pocket to show he doesn't have anything. So he calmly picks up his bag and walks out the store calmly. So after that, the son and the father and the son chase him out of the store. Well, he's still walking by now, and then he realizes he's being chased, so he starts to run. Because he's 14 years old, and a grown man and a younger man, which is much bigger than him at the time, are chasing him. So they apparently, so according to reports, they chase him 130 yards. Meanwhile, he's dropping his phones. He's running out of his shoes, man. He's running away. So he's running away. So he's not the threat because he's actually running away from them. So anyway, this child guy shoots him in the back and claims that he was defending his son because Cyrus had a gun on him. Well, he did have a gun on him. So you can see how it's set up, right? Because it's set up like that, man. The Lord set it up like that. Because if he didn't have a gun in it, there's no way that this child could have got. Well, you never know in Babylon, but it would be difficult for them to, argue against an unlawful killing. But there's nuances as well, and I'm going to get some more scriptures as well. I just need to say this. There's nuances as well because, the prosecution argued for murder, so they wanted to go for a murder charge, where they could have laid down a manslaughter charge, which is unrighteous, man. You want to go for the full thing if that's what you think it is. But the reason why it didn't work is because you have to prove without doubt that it's murder, and they couldn't prove that. But the autopsies and that proved that he was shot in the back, so he couldn't have been turned around to aim the gun at child. Look, bottom line is that these are Moabites, man. Look, Psalms 83 tells you, I'm not going to read it, Psalms 83 tells you that they're our enemies almost as much as Esau is, man. Hence why I read what I read, because we have to have patience, man. Alright? Because we're not going to get any justice in this world. Right? Not in this side of things. We have to wait for Yahweh Shai to give us, Yahweh Shai to give us the justice that we are craving for so much, man. We are not afforded the same luxuries as the other nations, man. And that Rick child, he knew that he'd probably get away with it. They went as far as to hire a Jake lawyer, man. I mean, what sort of Jake are you, so-called black man are you, that you're going to defend this bullshit, man? Right? But Jake has no integrity. That's the problem. Alright, even the son lost weight and changed his hairstyle to make himself look more young and innocent, when he was a hulking figure when he was chasing that boy out of that store. Anyway, long story short, man, we have to wait for Yahweh Shai, man, because we're not going to get any sort of revenge or any sort of justice for the things that are committed against us in this world, man. And these things are for punishment anyway. Alright, so we have to suffer. Alright, the scriptures tell you. Let me get another one up, actually. So I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 28 real quick, man. There's one of the verse I want to read. Can't quite remember where it is, so I'm just going to scroll. So I'm going to read some anyway, so I'm going to read this anyway. Verse 45 says, Deuteronomy 28:45 says, Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. If we was doing what we were supposed to be doing, these things wouldn't be happening. Our youth wouldn't be getting gunned down in the street. Who shoots a 14-year-old in the back anyway, man? But these people don't have any remorse, because we are hated amongst the nations, right? It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Right? think I might. Oh no, here it is, 66. It says, "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life." Right, so let me read up actually, verse 65. It says, "And among these nations shalt thou find no rest." Slack found no ease. Why did I say that? I was looking there. "Shall find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling of heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind." So you see, that's proof right there that the Lord is responsible for these things. It's just the way it is. You know, these people are getting away with murdering us, because the Lord has sanctioned it. Ultimately, we're going to win. Well, we already have won. It just hasn't got to that point yet, right? So I'm going to read 66 again. It says, "And thy life shall hang." It's like, it said, "But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling of heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind." So these are all not just physical fear, but mental fear, man. Especially in Babylon, Jake parents, they teach their children how to move in this world, because we have to move, especially in Babylon, I have to say, differently than everyone else, because we're not treated the same as everybody else. We are hated amongst all nations, man. Right? "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life." "In the morning thou shalt say, would Yahweh it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would Yahweh it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see." Yeah, because we see these things, man. You don't think that these things traumatize it doesn't traumatize us anymore. Yeah, there was a point where, before I was in this truth, it was traumatic to watch these things, to watch people do these things to us and get away with it all the time. Do you think I was surprised at that verdict? Not guilty? I wasn't surprised. Even the Jakes that are not in this truth, man, the Jakes of the world, they weren't surprised, man, of that verdict, because it's business as usual. We are the bottom of the barrel in this world, man, the bottom of the totem pole. Alright? So, the things that we see, man, it's terrible, man. I just thought of let's see if I can find, because I can't remember what that is, man. That's it. I don't know why I didn't find it. I typed in depression and mad, so Ecclesiastes 7:7 says, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." So, this stuff does stuff to you, man. There's generational trauma that's passed down. Hence the reason why we are so empathetic and sympathetic towards the things that have happened to our people in the past. That's why these crackers, I will just say that, I've said it now, I don't give a shit, right? That's why they always say, "Oh, well, you wasn't slaves and this, or you wasn't oppressed." Well, listen, man, we have what you lack: empathy and sympathy, man. We're not demons, all right? So we understand. We have feelings towards the things that have happened to our people in the past, and continue, and to see that continuing to this day. Of course, it's going to make you feel traumatic, because if you're outside of this truth, because you're going to feel as though you don't have anything backing you in this world. But we do, man. We have Yahweh Shem El Shai, man. All right. Because the Lord is going to set us right, man. Alright? Let's get some more precepts, man. We have to wait for Yahweh Shai, man. We have to wait for Yahweh Hashem Shai, because He's going to save us. And even the fact that, a lot of our people, the majority of our people, are going to be destroyed on this side of things, but still, they're still going to come into the kingdom, and they're going to be looked after well, and they're going to be able to get the revenge that they seek after, man. All right. We get to the point in Psalms 12 and 5 says, "For the oppression of the poor, for the sighing of the needy, now will I arise, saith the Lord. I will set him in safety from him that puffeth at him." Right? So who's puffing at us, man? First and foremost, Esau, Edom. Right? But then he's got these other nations believing that they're on his level, so they need to be treating us like they treat. That's called proximity to whiteness. All right? That's what it is. That's why they treat us like that. They'd rather be close to the east, to their own people that have oppressed them, right? They'd rather be close to people that have oppressed them than the people that they share the oppression with. Not to say that they've had the same amount of oppression as us, because they haven't, right? But at the end of the day, they have been oppressed. So let's get, what do I want now? Zephaniah 3 and 8, straight to the point, says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord." Right. So what's that? Wait for the Lord. Like all these Black Panthers and all that crap, it's not going to work, because we don't have the power to raise up any armies to fight against our oppressors, man. Alright, then we have to wait for the Lord of hosts, man. The Lord of armies, which is Yahweh, led by his son Yahweh Shai. Alright. So there's no way on earth we can overcome this man without Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Alright, this oppression from these nations. There's no way. Alright. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." Right? So that's all the nations have to pay. Alright? So for then I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord, to serve him with one consent. Right? "From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. In that day thou shalt not be ashamed for all thy doings, wherein thou hast transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride, and thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain." I could read more, but I need to get some other precepts before I that's what we're doing, man. It's just a shame that the rest of our people don't understand, but it just is what it is. We that's why we always have a disclaimer. We're not talking about war, man. You can put us on whatever list you want, but we ain't talking about us gathering up any weapons and starting any wars, man. We're talking about waiting for our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. He's going to do that, man. If you don't believe that, man, that's on you. This is Psalms 27:14. Says, "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord." right? We have to wait on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. We're not going to, we're not going to get any favors here, man. Let's get another one in the Proverbs, man. What was it? I'm going to read this in the NLT first, man. This is Proverbs 20:22. It says, don't say, I will get even for this wrong. Wait for the Lord to handle the matter. Right? You can't get any plainer than that, because Jake, listen, I ain't got no problem if Jake wants to go and do that. That's on them, but this ain't talking to them, man. This is talking to the prophets. This is talking to the elect, man. Right? We ain't about to go out and take no revenge for nobody, man. Alright? I read it in the KJV. It says, say not thou, I will recompense evil, but wait on the Lord, and he shall save thee. Right? Yeah? So, if any Jakes out there want to go out and do them kind of things, that's on them, man. You know what I mean? Who am I to say otherwise? That's on them, man. If the Lord puts a spirit in them to do all of that, you know what I mean? Well, that's up to them, man. Kind of, because at the end of the day, the Lord controls good and evil. So if he wants to let that happen, he's going to let that happen, man. But we have to wait on. We don't get justice here, man. I'm trying to think of a precept, but I can't remember how it goes. That's too many to search. Well, sure. Let me think real quick. Do you know what? Sometimes you can't get the ones you want. But anyway, man, I might have to do another one on this actually, because I want to get some. This is kind of like off the cuff, man, but I want to, do a bit more on this one, man, because we're coming into that time, man. That the scriptures say, man. These, look at that actually. These scriptures tell you, man, this ain't gonna be forever. And it's going to turn onto our enemies, man. Right. Deuteronomy 30:7 says, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So when we're in the kingdom, man, these Moabites and all that, and these Ammonites and these Edomites and whatever, right, and especially the Edomites, they're going to feel so much wrath for the things that they've done, that it's going to be incredible, man. Right, so all the things that have happened to us is going to happen to them. It's just about patience. Patience means suffering, man. And that's what's happening right now. How long have people been trying to get justice in this world, man? You ain't got it yet. What makes them think that all of a sudden now these people are going to start treating us right, man? They're not. Even when we got them under our feet, they're still going to want to do us dirty, man, because that's them. But they ain't going to have the power, man. Anyway, Lord, win this at the fire, man. You know, maybe I'll do another one regarding this topic, but for now I'm gonna call it. And yeah, man, all praises to Yahweh Shem Shaman, and shalom on to the next one.